about, trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just discount? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
Spending time all alone, sending my songs to the phone, dreaming of a better home, trying to hone this craft, witchcraft. I hope the Bluez let this last.
That was great sounds of Watts with Outside on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Preston, with my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Elm City made, EZ Bluez is in the building. Easy Bluez. You are better with introductions more than me. Who do we have thus today on Behind the Brand?
Ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you one of the most important things that we truly have in this world, this community, you have to fully understand that no matter what, there is nothing that we do on our own. There is nothing that we can do to move forward without a strong community behind us. And when you have people that are constantly out there looking out to make sure that each person can elevate to that next level, that is one of the truest, most beautiful things that can happen in this world. And today, we are honored, blessed, and privileged to have the incredible, the phenomenal, the absolutely fantastic, and the amazing Giuila Gambale here with us today to talk about how important community truly is. Welcome, blessings. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? Thank you for the introduction. I hope I can live up to it. I don't even know who I am anymore.
That's awesome. But I think that's also like one of the most important things of the aspect. And you know, there were movies that have been put out and all that kind of thing, you know, The Pursuit of Happiness, where it says we are not, you know, really granted happiness, but it's the pursuit of it that is the truest adventure. And I love that you're at that place where you don't 100% know who you are anymore because you're continuing your pursuit and you're altering and you're changing. So you've already been there. You just happen to be there again and, you know, able to benefit and grow from that. But what kind of, like, I don't know, what got you into doing what you do? And can you explain just a little bit for the people playing the home game, what exactly you do?
So right now what I do is I really just support entrepreneurs. That's like the biggest thing. My partner actually calls me the entrepreneur provocateur because I really want to work with people in the community to get them to where I am and what I've been doing for the past 14 years. My own story is I was working for a marketing agency for 14 years. Mm-hmm. I got laid off at the tender age of 40. I walked in, and I don't care, like, if people know how old I am, like, that's no big deal to me, whatever. I've lived like a life and a half. So when I got laid off, I walked into my boss's office and I said, hey, you know what? I just really want to thank you for doing this for me. This gave me the push that I needed to start my own company and do work the way that I want to do it. So 14 years ago, I started, and you can do math there. I started She's So Social, which was a social marketing company at the time. And I say was because I feel like I've really grown a lot in that period of time. And so now what I love doing is working with organizations and with companies and with people to help them become business owners as well, to realize their entrepreneur dreams and just provide information and resources. I've been doing a lot of teaching and speaking right now. So I want to continue doing that. Was that short?
that was amazing, and also gives us plenty of stuff to bounce off of. So, you know, and really, I think the key part is, and I hope the part that everyone who's listening right now and going to go back and listen to this, episode over and over and over and over and over again, truly understands is it's all those extra moments. You know, you can have an idea, you can really want to get behind that idea, you can even live out as that idea is coming, and you can speak a lot about it. But there are these so many steps that take it from an idea to a tangible product and then to a way to market and get that product out into the
Yeah.
world itself. And there's so many different steps that like I'm completely clueless about. I would just much rather, stand in the middle of Times Square and shout, I think we should do this, and then everyone can follow me, because that makes more sense to me.
Right.
But here you started this business on your own. You figured it out from playing the corporate game initially, and
Yeah.
then you understood the artistry of, because it is. I mean, there's a whole
There
world
is.
of artistry between filling out grants, finding out the laws in which you can play within. There's all this kind of stuff. And now you're sitting there and you're saying, this is the new evolution of me.
Mhm.
Do you like it better than when you were just running your own kind of like media thing?
Yeah, I do like it. I like being able to be in a position of support and
Mm-hmm.
kind of sitting back and saying, okay, I've done this for a long period of time. I've stumbled a lot. Oh my goodness. I stumbled around so much, and I probably could have gotten into so much trouble. Um, like, oh, you're like, the very first thing that I tell people now is, when you are starting a business, the moment that you are really selling product one or service one, start separating your bank accounts, your
Mm-hmm.
personal bank account and your business bank account. Um, that was probably, besides how I branded myself, was like the first thing where I really stumbled around with that a lot. And now, I remember when I started She's So Social, I started it. I knew that I wanted to continue in social media and online communication, because this was way back in 2008. And
Mm-hmm.
this was when Twitter was just coming out. Facebook
Yep.
was just coming out. Google was just figuring itself out as something that was more than a search engine. And businesses were really struggling to find that space, because they're used to advertising, but they weren't used to this two-way conversation that was happening on social media. So I was working with small businesses and organizations. And actually, my first client was the Greater New Haven Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I researched what other convention and visitors bureaus were doing, what other kind of touristy type of organizations were doing on
Mm-hmm.
social media. And I was like, oh wow, there were um three locations that were doing it really, really well. And I was like, okay, that's what I feel like I want to do. I went off on a tangent, so I don't know where I am right now.
That's fine. We I am here, and we are there, so we are here together.
We're used to it.
And that, yeah, we live in the world of tangent. That was actually going to be the other name
Absolutely.
of the show. Is instead of behind the brand, it was going to be behind the tangent. But
Yes.
we decided B2B looks better for a branding point of view.
So true. So true. So true.
So true. So true. So, those hours of Preston and I sitting there fighting over, how things were supposed to go, you know. But and I say that because we stumble into everything, and that's just the way it goes. But I love the fact that you're 100% forward with, you failed a lot. It's something that we talk about on the show all the time. Any advice that we ever give entrepreneurs or artists that are trying to do it, I usually say fail often, fail hard, and fail gloriously. Because it's going to happen. So just
Yeah.
enjoy the ride. Every once in a while, you just happen to realize that what you thought was a tequila shot was actually a frozen shot of acid, and you just have to run that ride until it's over.
I never done that before, but I have failed, like, pretty publicly. So, I've started businesses, and I've started businesses with people, that were friends of mine, and we had good runs, and we've had like, maybe this is not the thing to do, like, right now. Um, but at the end, it's all great fun, and it's life. My goal has always been, I have grown children, so my goal was always like feed and clothe my kids and have a roof over their heads. Now it's feed my dogs and have a roof over my head and try to do like as many fun things as I possibly can.
Definitely, definitely. What is known?
So what is known?
I heard a lot of great things about known. Tell me everything about known. I've been under a rock for so long.
So known
You don't know
is
Gnome?
known
No.
is the tiniest
Now
little
I want to know.
co-working space that can.
Okay.
And that can provide again, it's a place so I'm going to back up a little bit. I
Go ahead.
started my business in a co-working space. It was called The Grove, and it had a really good
I remember
run.
the Grove.
Yeah, from 2009 to like 2019
Yeah,
ish.
yeah. That's
So
when
I was probably
yeah.
one of the first 5 to 7 people that was in The Grove, and then it grew to like many, 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 many. So I'm used to being in a collaborative space. I'm used to being in a space where we brainstorm, where we bounce ideas off of each other, where we try something new, where we expand and that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
Known is a co-working space. Known has a now nonprofit center as well, where we've had the knownnepreneurs. So we've graduated 47 entrepreneurs from our programming. It's an intensive 16-week program
Wow, that's impressive.
with classes. The classes ran every Tuesday for 16 weeks. There were mentors. We dealt with things called KPIs, key performance indicators. So it was super, super intensive. We looked for grant funding for these entrepreneurs as well. So I got to meet like 47 business people that, are thriving. And we worked with Alicia at Bloom. We looked down in Westville. We worked with Chris Threat from Gorilla Lemonade.
Real lemonade. Yep.
Yeah. We worked with a lot of people that were in a lot of Kwame from Oshito sauce.
Oh
So
wow.
the Ghanaian sauce, which is like amazing. I like spicy sauces, and it is spicy.
Okay.
Well, I'm giving like all these free shout outs.
No,
But
no, no. This is impressive.
but like they're just
Yeah.
great, great, great people. And then at the same time, we have, other programming as well. So I get to meet all these people and listen to all these stories. And I was part of the program team, a mentor and an instructor as well. So again, going back to that kind of, and it's really weird to say giving back. I don't like using the term giving back.
Why's
I
that?
want to say that like it's a back and forth. There is no giving back, because I'm learning just as much as other people are learning that are in the program. So, it's an honor for me.
And it's an honor to have you on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Preston, and my partner in crime, who's looks like she's impressed right now. Long Island Raised, Elm City made, EZ Bluez is in the building. We're with Giulia right now, and it's kind of crazy, and actually it's really awesome. You've seen all these people before their prime or before their peak has even happened yet. It has to be a glorious feeling.
Well, that's the thing, right? Because a lot of them are like successful. There's a woman, Tamara, and she's Pinch a Profit. I mean, and she's doing these like humongous events with writers, with authors, published. She's a published author, and she wants to grow her business. So it's things like that. And I'm like looking at, I'm like, oh my goodness, you are like way beyond me. Like way beyond. And yeah, so it's just a lot of fun. But like the thing is that I know what I know. I'm comfortable in knowing what I know when I'm presenting, when I'm mentoring, when I'm teaching, and that sort of thing. I just have this confidence. And I have to say, when I was starting my business, and even before I was starting my business, if you it's interesting because if you see me now and you saw me like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, it's like there's this like timid little like librarian. I don't want to say librarian, but like just a very like because librarians are super cool too.
Right.
The shout out to New Haven Free Public Library as well because they have a business center and I was entrepreneur
Really? Okay.
there
Uh,
in 2021 to 2022, and working with the business center there was just absolutely, again, super amazing. There are so many resources there, and I love just like dipping in and out of different things and saying, "Oh, what are you doing? Oh, what are you doing?" Because I can do that. You can do it too.
no.
Well played. Well played. Well played.
Definitely. I'm impressed.
But that is the one of the most incredible things, and that's why we love doing this show, and we love to highlight the stories of the independent business owner trying to go out there and do that, so that more people understand that they can as well. It is so super important. And again, we do never pour salt in anyone else's hustle. If you are good waking up and working for someone else's dream and you are happy and you are content, do you. You're awesome. That's incredible. And we love you. But if you're not, and you just need to jump out there and be yourself and figure out a way to make money just being yourself, then please go and create something, whether it be a business, whether it be, just an idea aspect, whether it be a social media company. All of these things are necessary. And when you can perfect them in your life, you can then figure out how to live sustainably, telling other people and showing other people how to do that. And that's something that's been culturally throughout our world forever. We've just now, we're almost back to the barter and trade aspect of life. And I kind of like that because capitalism stinks. But that's just me.
Yeah, truly. Well, it's interesting because in 2020, one of the things that I did during COVID with a bunch of fellow gardeners was start a mutual aid garden group. Basically, what that means, I mean, one of the big things for me is that food is absolutely a right. Nobody should ever be denied food. End of. So the mutual aid garden group that we started, we were thinking about it from the perspective of if there was a breakdown in distribution, which in the very beginning there seems to be a little bit of a breakdown. Definitely was a breakdown in toilet paper.
Right.
But we would be, and there's other mutual aid groups for other reasons as well. But we would be able to not only fend for ourselves, but teach other people how to fend for themselves. Now it's starting to sound like a weird conspiracy thing, but just to like garden with other people, right? Something very, very simple. My family came from Italy, and we have there's still a lot of family there, and they have olive groves there, and everybody has their own olive groves. But when it comes to making the olive oil, it's a community effort. We all bring our olives to the same press. The oil gets pressed, and it's not just one family or one company. It's all these families, And so we wanted to do something like that. So we've been doing that for a long time. And what that turned into was, for me at least, was volunteering for the Iris Garden, which is and right now we have 17 families in a 34-bed garden, and they're able to grow food, and they are amazing because many of them were gardeners in their own countries that they had to leave. Right. So this isn't like, oh, we're helping. No, it's like, no, this is what they did. They know how to garden. And we're just providing, space and support and assistance and that sort of. I don't know that had to do with capitalism sucks, but here's some ways that we can do little workarounds.
Well, I live and die by capitalism sucks, and that's just fine. And for all those that want to give me hate mail, I tell them all the time, feel free to send it to Preston because I don't care.
That's right.
you know. But
I don't
you know,
accept hate.
yeah. Oh, I accept it. You just don't want me to recycle it back to you.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of matching energy. I'm just better at it. Um, but sans all that. Enough about me. Let's seriously get into, you know, I love that, especially coming out of the pandemic, we're starting to see more and more people understand how important community really is. You know,
Mhm.
as much as we have been socially programmed to be individuals, we thrive in community. And when we can get back to that communal aspect of it, that's really where we start to become free. Where you know. It goes all the way back to that amazing child raising book. It takes a village, because it does. But it's
Mhm.
very important of the village that you take your time to put around you. The village doesn't have to be the neighborhood in which you live in. It is the
Mhm.
people in which you bring close to your life. How do people get more connected with you and bring you closer to their life to make their village better?
Oh wow. There's I guess there's several different ways. I'm at noon every single day from
Mhm.
9 to 5. That's what I do. So I run my own business, but then I also make sure that people who are here in this space get what they need as far as whatever resources that they need. Um, Another thing that I've been doing, I'm actually going to be graduating from my Master Gardener certification October 28th. If anybody wants to send me gifts
Mhm.
of
Very
plants.
true. Right. Careful. Be very specific, because there's some people in our listening audience that might hear, you know, giving gifts and plants. You might get the wrong type of plants. I'm just
I
saying,
don't think there's a
or
wrong
the
type
right type,
anymore.
or the right type, depending on how you want to dance with that. I'm just for your
Just
own
saying.
sanity.
Yeah. Um, but where was it going with this? Oh yeah. So so I've been I'm out and about. I really am. Like, you can find me. Look at this. There was
Mhm.
like one there was one person um who I was like, "Oh, hey, you were at this place." And I was like, I didn't even see you. Like, come up and talk to me, tell me what's going on. I'm always talking to people. One of the
Mhm.
things that I wanted to go back to about the community though is
Of course.
the arts community did a phenomenal job saving our butts. I did well there, not saying anything else.
I appreciate that.
But saving us in that, every day there was some place where somebody was like doing music at their home and they were
Mhm.
popping it on Zoom, or the murals outside, or just anything, like, when I could just walk around downtown when it was possible to do so, and it's just like, I'm going to take a walk outside and just look at all the art that's around, or somebody's having their music being played in a parking lot, it's such
Mhm.
and such a place, and that sort of thing. And that I've like held on to that this whole time, because I'm hoping that people still realize, like, arts is always important, but it just was amazingly apparent, you know, um, over the past couple of years, just how important it is and how needed it was for our mental health.
No, and it's honestly, first and foremost, that's like one of the biggest topics that is so close and near and dear to my heart. I remember when Mayor Elicker first got the position. Prestige and I went to Three Sheets, and man, I read him up one way and down the other about how, local artists should be supported, and that's
Mm-hmm.
really where it is, because then the money that you're investing into that community aspect is actually being spent in your own city. Not to jump on my soapbox, but it's so super, super important. And I think they've done leaps and bounds from where it
Yeah.
was before, but there's still light years that need to go. The fact that we've lost as many incredible venues as we have, especially like the venues that have really only catered to the local scene itself.
Yeah.
Not having something like that downtown right now hurts. You want to create a city where people want to go to, and then one of the main places that people want to go, unfortunately, due to big business and deals and wheels, has to close. That's a problem, and that's actually going to be a deficit later on, because once that building's up, if there's nowhere to go downtown or nothing cool to do downtown, no one's going to want to live there. So it's great that we have people in the community like yourself that are sitting there and teaching other people how to level up so that they can maybe get that grant to have that storefront to sell records, or local merch from all artists. I think that needs to happen downtown as well. But that's just me. It's on me on my soapbox. Causing havoc. This is why when Mayor Elliker sees my children out in public, he darts his head real quick and says, "Say hello to your dad," and then keeps moving. That's fine.
Yeah. I think from the perspective too of teaching people and making sure that there's resources for business and that sort of thing. One of the things, and then answering your question where it can be found as well. One of the things that I like to do is make sure that I'm always speaking and teaching in venues, either hybrid or online. So I actually have a class coming up here at Known, and I'm doing this class with Belito Garcia. Cool Nerd Sam. I don't know if you guys spoke with him before, but he's super cool. But his name's not Sam, it's Belito. But we're going to be talking about the customer journey and how to be a customer-centric business. And it's a 3-part series. And this is another thing too, is being able to partner with organizations. So there's a SCORE Fairfield County, and we've been partnering with them. And they have a library of information. Like, this is like the type of thing that is like, I'm always trying to push that there's so many free resources available, and also that there's no stupid question that people just
I like that.
Asking questions, like asking a lot of questions. I didn't ask questions in the very beginning, and now I ask questions all the time, and I really don't care how stupid people think, how people think of my questions, if they're, whether they're stupid or not. I'll ask the question because it makes sense. And then you have 5 other people that like, I was afraid to ask that question. CEDF is another organization that I do a lot of teaching. So you'll see my videos on my teaching videos, and then other people's teaching videos as well. They have a specific website called weteachsuccess.org. And it's just everything that has to do with businesses, everything from like creating a business plan to creating a marketing plan to, what your back end office should look like, what kind of platforms to use, how to be productive. And also a lot, self-care is like super, super important too, because we get so burnt out. There'll be times where I've taught like a 4-hour class, and then I'll just sit for 2 hours in the chair that I use to teach the 4-hour class because I just can't go. I don't think people talk about that enough. There are spaces, and by spaces I mean like, not only physical spaces, but group people that will get together and they'll be like, yeah, we have to take care of ourselves because, there's issues. And then, a lot about what I learned too is that, specifically because Knowpreneurs specifically worked with the BIPOC community, with Black and Brown people and Native people as well. And, learning that it's more, for me, learning, that it's more than just like, oh, I'm having a tough day. There's like generational stuff that that comes along with that as well. And so that's also another thing, is knowing when I need to step back and just listen, which is
which is
So
very
very,
important. Absolutely.
so very important. Just like
Absolutely.
moving my chair back now
Mhm.
and not say a thing.
Right.
Because you can learn something out of it. You can learn a lot from somebody else. What are the constant mistakes that you see when it comes to businesses? And just being a New Haven resident for a good majority of my life, I see all these great business and restaurants downtown, and then shoot, give it about like what 3-4 months gone. And it's crazy because like most of the times I love those places. I love those like
Yeah.
nice local places.
No,
And
yeah, that's the thing. And that's one of the things I think that's really important. And I don't know,
mhm,
I don't know like specifically, but I know in general, like
right.
restaurants are hard.
Yeah,
They're
I believe it.
difficult. They are so difficult because there's so many moving parts. I would never know how to run a restaurant without crying every single day.
Mm,
Um, but having a really solid business plan and also having the right business partner and having the right
yeah.
team, you
Hmm.
know, everybody who's involved in whatever business really like has to know the business, if not believe in the business.
Of course.
It's kind of and understand you have to be able to really you have to communicate what that business is and what it
Hmm.
means to the people. One of my favorite types of businesses right now are B corporations.
Mm,
Um, because B corporations really take into account um, every aspect of the business, every aspect, right from the get-go, and how it communicates with the community at large. So it's the environment, it's the employees, it's culturally how when it sits into a space or when it's getting distribution from a certain place, how does it affect the rest of the world? And that's a whole big conversation just in the world, not just in business, but to
hmm.
have an a business structure and a business philosophy that says, I'm going to take into account how I am affecting the world by having this business.
Right.
I think if we started with that in the beginning, any business, that this world would look so much different.
No, it definitely would. And also to kind of like put a little bit of a caveat on that, I want to kind of throw in also, I think if we had a culture that it was just okay to be yourself, instead of being forced to be something else or live someone else's dream or ideal, which again has everything to do with generational trauma. And I'm not belittling any of that. But I'm saying we are socially programmed to, say if you do think slightly outside the box and as an individual, you're going to fail and you need to make sure that you look like the Joneses, act like the Joneses, have
Yeah.
everything the Joneses have. So it's a much bigger hurdle than just in the business world. I think if we started to really attack
Yeah.
that, on the cultural world, and on the socially acceptable world, I say all the time, and it's taken from one of the SP lyrics is, we focus on the difference, can't see we are all the same. We all feel the sunshine just like we feel the rain. And that's so super important because when we start to realize that each individual is important, we are now giving the
Yeah.
power back to the individual. And that is key. When you can live a life in which you do hold at the majority of the power, you are so much more free to be yourself. And I love how you also talk about, having that thing and understanding you are impacting. But if your business is you,
Mm-hmm.
it is
Yeah.
that true extension of yourself. This is something that's there. We say all the time, from a marketing point of view, we always go back to professional wrestling, and the most characters that have gotten over are those actors or those wrestlers who are being themselves turned up to 11 because you're giving yourself. When we had a comedy workshop that we just did at the Bridgeport Film Festival this past weekend, and Lisa Lampanelli, said, dive
Yep.
into your originality, dive into what makes you different, something that you can speak passionately about, and that's where you're going to be a better artist when in the comic aspect of it, be a storyteller. And it's the same thing. Like, be yourself, because you can get shirts printed anywhere, but getting a shirt printed by X, Y, and Z is cooler because X, Y, and Z is cool. And I think that is something that I hope the people listening to this wonderful show realize, because we make sure we have some of the weirdest people in the history of the world on this show to talk about just how awesome it is to be weird, mainly so I don't feel alone. That's really what it comes down to. It's somewhat about me sometimes. Right, P?
Yeah.
Sometimes on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven, myself, Preston, and my partner in crime, Long Island Raised, Elm City Made, where we have great guests on the show. Not just weird, unique, wonderful, brilliant people who are on this show every time. Go ahead, Easy Boost, continue.
Phenomena. Sorry, I had to.
It's okay.
But these are like really, and like when Preston and I go out and we do these segments of, behind the brand in the wild, we're learning about the community around us. We're learning about the people there. We're learning, you never look crazy directly in the eyes, because you could lose 35 minutes of your life. There's just certain things that you have to fully bring through. And it's through those experiences that you can help build and grow. What is the advice that you have right now for that person that is listening to the show, has been holding on to that idea since their sophomore year of high school, and just, if I only knew how to do this, I would be rich right now? What is that? That's the one person I want you to talk to right now. Pitch them.
So I would say a few things. The first thing is very practical, and it's go to the library and have somebody help you and do a business plan, or come to Known and have me, or there's a couple of other people, Barb and Roz, help you do a business plan, or even it's a business ideation, right? And just put it down on paper, because when you bounce it off on somebody who's like, yeah, okay, I've done this, I know what this is about, and they make you feel like, yeah, this is really a good idea, and we can put some practical steps behind this. There's so many. There actually are so many organizations. One of the, I think it's NHE3. I think it's NHE3.org, has like 12 to 14 organizations that will help you as you go through the process of deciding whether or not this is a good idea to do this business. And just talking it out with another person already makes it more readily available to you. It really does. Just, I had my idea in my head for so long. And it was always like, oh, well, I need health insurance for me and the kids, and I need this and I need that. And maybe it's not such a good idea. Maybe, so much imposter syndrome. Like, how am I going to be able, to do this? That sort of thing. And then, interestingly enough, when I told my soon to be not boss anymore, that like, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start my own business. You just laid me off.
And a lot of bravery.
Start my own business. And he said, okay, well, do you want to use the office for a month and kind of figure it out?
Oh, wow.
And I was like, yeah, okay. He's like, oh, wow. Yeah, this is great. You can do this. And I'm like, okay, cool. Thanks. He was.
Oh, man. Okay.
He was the president of a company that I worked for 15 years. Yeah, he wants me there. But if I say, and now it's 14 years later, and he's like, wow, I'm really proud of what you're doing. Wow, I'm really proud of what you're doing. Just tell one other person, and obviously it might be the person who you least expect to support you supports you.
True. It always is. It
You know,
always is. Like
like
you
the
really think
idea
they're
that
against?
seems
Yeah, I
the
totally understand.
craziest
Hmm.
is not the craziest.
Sometimes we listen to our demons in our head too much. Sometimes we
Oh yeah.
overthink, sometimes we overestimate, and we don't really know the good that's right in front of us. I always say it best, like we're our own worst enemy when it comes to just downing ourselves and just killing our self-esteem. Like usually it's not the other person, it's you.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't know that it goes a lot for mental health when it comes to creating your own thing, because you're just into the wild, you're into the new, and nobody really understands just the everyday aspect of it, because realistically you have no day off. No day
Yep.
off. You are
Nope.
always on that business. Like you may have a day where you do less activities or less responsibilities for that business, but you are always maintaining that business. It's a constant feeling, and especially when you have people under you, because you want to make sure they keep that same vision, or at least 85 to 90% of that vision they keep up when you're not there at the place. So it's frustrating. It can really be, but the
Yeah.
reward is really great. And you said 14 years, just clap for yourself right now. That's amazing. That really is. But
If you do it in a circle, it's a round of applause.
oh,
This
there you
is
go.
Yeah,
There you go. I like that.
I got you. I
But
got you.
but for the
but that's
people like
definitely
me,
the thing.
mhm,
Like one, telling one other person. I think the second thing is
yeah,
start going to places where other people, business people and other entrepreneurs are, other people who have
of course.
ideas, because then you're all talking to each other about ideas.
Hmm.
And that's the thing, because that also changed me as a person.
Yeah.
I don't care what other people are doing in their negativity. I
Hmm.
care what people are doing in their positivity. I care what people
There you
are
go.
doing in the community at large. Right. And that changes the whole conversation. If you're talking about mental health, that did a lot for my own mental health, because I started feeling more confident, and I'm like, I don't care what anybody else thinks of me.
Hmm.
You know, this is my idea. This is my baby. I'm going to do this. Who are other people that I can kind of go back and forth and say, hey, I'm communicating this. Okay, that sounds great. I need your help. I know somebody else who needs your help. I know somebody that you can go to. Being in places where you feel welcome. I think one of the first places that I was able to go was a smaller chamber of commerce. That's
Hmm.
to start out with, right? Something
Right.
that didn't have like a large fee, and they
Hmm.
had an amazing women's, little subsection where it was women business owners, and there were women business owners that were business owners for 20, 30 years, and there were women business owners that were business owners that were just starting out like me. And
Hmm.
I was like, oh, this is super cool, right? Because I can get
Of course.
out of this big corporate thing. And it was where I worked was super corporate. I
Oh
couldn't
man.
wear the things that I was wearing now. It's like, oh, what I had, it was one woman who was like, let me get you some business style clothes. And I'm like, I'm fine.
For the person who's still living in Iraq like me, just reinstate to our audience, how do you get into known, the great things about it, because I know you still work for the company, and just the great things and what you benefit just out the program and the opportunities, and especially just comes when it comes to payment and stuff like that. So go ahead.
Yeah, so we're at 139 Orange Street, which is the
Hmm.
Palladium building, and we're on the fourth and fifth floor of that building. We have everything from co-working space where you could just grab a desk when you're ready and sit down and do work. There's events there. We have a wonderful, wonderful gallerist who's with us, Kim Weston, and she curates art because we recognize that art is a very important part of
Hmm.
our world. Um, So if you go to the Instagram, you'll see that there's artist work all over the place, and it's gorgeous. There's different plans. So if you go to nhvknown.com, you can see all the different plans that are there.
Awesome.
We have, a whole bunch of things. So, yep. So it's like a dual role. But the thing is, right,
great to hear. Yeah.
I love what I'm doing in this space because it has helped me. Being in this type of space has helped me. So now it's like everybody should know about spaces like this.
Right. We're wrapping up soon in the program, but this time's gonna be remanded for you. Just a two-part question, Giulia. Any last inspirational advice you want to give to somebody who is scared to make that leap for entrepreneurship? And please tag yourself any events that you're going to be part of within this month or within this year. And this time is yours, and we appreciate you.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So again, I would say the idea starts becoming a reality when you tell at least one other person about what that is, and whoever you think you can trust. There's plenty of resources out there. I'm hoping, that people will be able to go ahead and make that leap. What I had said before, I'm here at Known every single day from 9 to 5. I have office hours here as well, so you can make an appointment with me and speak for 30 minutes about your business idea. So I will personally listen to your business idea.
Nice.
Yep. That's what I do. And then I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to be teaching with Belito Garcia. Our first in a 3-part series is going to be September 20th at noon. And we're going to be talking about the customer journey there. So, yeah. And then I'm teaching at Housatonic Community College as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Bridgeport. Okay.
Super excited about
That's great.
That. You can also ask me gardening questions now because I'm almost a master gardener.
Uh-oh. Okay. So when we get you back on, we got a whole bunch of new material to talk about.
New material just for now.
Giulia, I appreciate you being part of the broadcast. Time is running thin with the Apollo curtain that we have right here on Behind the Brand. Myself, Preston, Easy is, having some technical issues right now, unfortunately, but we do appreciate you just being with us on the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, definitely. We had a great time on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. This has been Behind the Brand. Thank you, Giulia.
Thank you.
Wondering what to write about, trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just this gown? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
Spending time all alone, sending my songs through the phone, dreaming of a better home, while focused on trying to hone this craft, witchcraft.